Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn social psychology today, conformity and age differences or something. And after we've done it, we're going to do hip training. And if you participate in the hip training, then it's at your own risk. And the book is written in the 90s or something. Age and sex differences. We all know, we're talking again of human beings in general, and this is a longer chapter we're reading here on. We all know some people who conform more than others. Solomon Asch found individual differences in his research. Attempts to identify personality traits that breed conformity, however, have met with little success. Conformist traits may exist, but their effects on behavior vary from one situation to another. So we're saying what personality traits which a person might have an influence on their conformity, so how they try to fit in, are so far not really linked and known. So we're saying what we said here. Personality traits have met with little success to identify them to conformity. Consistent with the interactionist perspective described in chapter 1, which we didn't read, someone who conforms in one setting may behave autonomously in another setting. So we're saying here, the character of a person or the personality traits of a person don't necessarily are a good indicator for how they will behave in such or such a situation in which they might or might not try to be conform, fit in. It could be differently from one situation to another one. They are not personality traits which predict if a person is going to fit in or not. Although personality is what they say here. Although personality factors are hard to pin down, there are age differences in conformity. Parents know fully well, so we're again talking in general and making a big assumption here. Parents know fully well, for example, that their adolescent sons and daughters are all too quick to turn to peers for guidance on how to dress, what music to listen to, and how to behave in ways that are cool, in quotation. Are junior and senior high school students more vulnerable to peer pressure than younger children and adults? So what we're talking about is the age difference. First, we're making the claim that parents are knowing that their children are tend to look for what we're going to do in their life by people around them and get influenced by them. And now the question is that differently depending on how old a child is? Is a 5-year-old child the same way affected by the people around them as a 15-year-old child, or on different aspects affected by the people around them? And the answer is, according to them, yes. At least during the early stages of adolescence. Thomas Brand asked 1979, so it might be a bit outdated, but maybe not. Thomas Brand asked students in grades 3, 6, 9, and 12, and it is probably a US-American book. So these are not the ages which children had, whatever ages that now are. In the grades 3, 6, 9, and 12, how they would react if their friends try to get them to see a movie, help a new kid on the block, cheat on a test, sub winners on Halloween, or participate in other activities. So someone asked, probably in 1979, children of different ages, between, let's guess, 9, 15, and 18, and 22, whatever, a broad range, what we would do, how we would get influenced, how we would react if another child would ask them to watch a movie with them, or do something maybe slightly illegal. So different types of questions. And the conformity rose steadily, peaked in the 9th grade and then declined. So we're saying here, at the beginning we were only a little conform, and when we were around 15, here's again just the grade written, around 15, they were the most likely to do what the other people encourage them to do. But we have to mention in that our conclusion here, the other people of the same age. So not just people in general. The greatest tendency to do what other people ask them to do or encourage them to do if they have the same position as them at the same age. And maybe saying what we're going to come in the next part, I'm going to talk about, instead of saying that we do all the time, between boys and girls. The tendency to conform is weak for actions that are immoral or illegal. But young adolescents are particularly at risk as they want desperately to fit in. So we're saying the first thing is, tendency to conform is weak for actions that are immoral or illegal. So we're stating here that Most people are not conforming in and participating in actions which are immoral or illegal, but it is higher during adolescence, during young adolescence. Are there also gender difference in conformity? Based on Solomon Ashe's, that was done in 1951, so I think that's all I want to say. Based on Ashe's initial studies, social psychologists used to think that women, once considered the weaker between men and women, I don't want to say the word here all the time, conform more than men. In light of more recent research and the books from the 90s, however, it appears that two additional factors have to be considered. First, the difference between men and women depend on how comfortable subjects are with the experimental tasks. So, how comfortable with the experimental task? Maybe we want to give an example. Frank Sistrang and John McDavid had male and female subjects answer questions on stereotypically masculine, feminine, and gender-neutral topics. Along with each question, subjects were told the percentage of others who agreed or disagreed. So we were asked something which was stereotypically associated with masculine people, feminine people, with man, woman, or subjects which were not seen particularly to be done by one group of people belonging to one gender. Along with each question, subjects were told the percentage of other people who agreed or disagreed with that action being done by that person. Although females conformed to the contrived majority more on the masculine items, males conformed more on the feminine items. There were no sex differences on the neutral questions. This finding suggests that one's familiarity with the issue at hand, not gender, is what affects conformity. Ask about football or video war games, and women acquiesce more than men. Ask about family planning and fashion design, and the pattern is reserved. I don't completely understand what this experiment was. What do we mean about the middle part here? Were we then told how many people would be agreeing to that? Would agreeing or disagreeing with it? So we don't really understand the experiment, or at least I don't. We're saying here, basically the whole passage is that what was thought by some people in some time that women would be easier conforming into a group seems to be not true. A second factor is the type of social pressure people face. As a general rule, difference between men and women are weak and unreliable. But there is an important exception. In face-to-face encounters where people must openly disagree with each other, small differences do emerge. In fact, when subjects think they are being observed, women conform more and men conform less than they do in a more private situation. So we are saying here that women would conform more if they are in public, and men conform less in public. Why does being in public create such a divergence in behavior? And again, it could be also, the book is written in the United States in the 90s. Alice Eagle in 1987 argues that in front of others, people worry about how they come across and feel pressure to behave in ways that are acceptable within traditional gender role constraints, at least in public. Men make it a point to behave with fierce independence and autonomy, while women play a gentler, more docile role. Okay, here's the explanation by Alice Eagle for that women in public are agreeing more and men are agreeing less in public, is that women are playing a more gentle and docile role, whereas men are playing or behaving as if they would have a fierce independence and autonomy. Conformity in childhood and adolescence. Students in grades 3, 6, 9 and 12 reported on how they would react if pressured by peers to participate in certain activities. As shown, conformity rose steadily, peaked in the 9th grade and then declined, particularly for young adolescents who want desperately to fit in the way they act, dress and wear their hair. It's difficult to just say no. And just say no is as a quote written, so as some people telling to people just say no to whatever things, that it would be harder is here argued, because there's a strong pressure on them. Conformity is highest among 9th graders and kids want most desperately to fit in. Of how many people? I don't understand the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4 of 10? Whatever, it is higher, but what if it is 2,000 or something? Oh, okay, we know what we mean. We're saying that... No, I don't want to make the point. because I don't understand it. I cannot say if it's what 1 to 4. If it's is it 4 the total number? I don't want to make a point about saying what age is rather agreeing if I don't say if it's 4 the total number or 10 or 1,000 total number. That is not able to say that. Now, I said it all in the middle part. That was the social psychology part. If you're here for social psychology, you can get ready to the next part of social psychology. Then we're going to read on with the next chapter. At one point, we're going to go back to that chapter, read it completely again, understand it a little bit better, and then try to make a little presentation and say these 2-3 points which they argued there. If you stay here and participate in the hip training, then it's very honest. Have your feet standing together, and open with one foot and the other foot. When the heels, the toes, heels. As far as you can go. And back in again. This time stay down in the knees. Up again. Legs a bit apart. Not sorry. Bit down. Flex the legs, press them together. Straighten one leg. Bend it again. The other leg, straighten it. Bend it again. And up. Legs a bit apart. Down to the knees. Flex the legs. Bring them together. Go to one side. To the other side. And have a good standing leg. One leg up to the side. Breathe in. Into the middle and again down. Other leg up to the outside. Breathe again in. Middle and down. And stand good on one leg. Turn over to that leg. Go down into the knee. Turn over. Up again. The other leg stand good. Turn over. Down. Over. And up. And have a good standing leg. And reach with the heel of the other leg always to imaginary 90-minute intervals of an imaginary dial. And the other leg to 12 o'clock and 1:30 and 3, 10:30 and 9 o'clock, 7:30 and 6 o'clock, 4:30 and 3 o'clock. Have one good standing leg, the other heel onto the ground. Don't do it if you're pregnant. Lift the heel off the ground, place it in onto the ground. The other knee. And the legs are pointing to the outside, the toes are pointing to the outside, breathe in the outside. Breathe out, sink down, elbows against the insides of the knees, breathe in and straighten up. And out, come up in one straight line. In the arms again up. Out and sink down. Hands onto the ground, come back up. And roll slowly the round leg up again, backwards. In up again. Out and sink down, elbows against the insides of the legs, breathe and straighten up. And out and one straight line. I can go wrong. And now, next exercise, stand good on one leg, the other leg up, arms to the sides, and go in front, and the leg up, and leg down. And leg up again, and pull the knee in and out. And change the leg. The other leg up, and lean in front, and the leg up, and back again. And pull the knee in and out. Legs to the sides, breathing it down. And out. And up, and up. And out. Breathe in and close the legs. And again out. That was the hip training. I thank you very much. In the next time.